So I just realized that I lied to you a little and told you that we covered event listeners in 1.3. My bad, that's not true. I figure I'll do a quick little video edit and do it now. So I have here our file from Project 3, and we have actually every function in one spot, which is not what we want to do. So let's go ahead and break these up. We'll just break one method up so you guys can see how that works, and then we'll take care of the rest later. And then I also made a model and a controller. And here's the controller, here's the model. The only thing that you need to make sure you do first is in your controller, we're going to import these libraries, action event and action listener. These will allow us to set up action listeners. We also need to make variables for our view and our model. So we have calc model, and we have, I call it the first project frame, which is bad, but that's view. So there are those. Okay. And then let's see. One sec. The command line arguments function from the first frame. I'm just going to actually cut it and then paste it into your controller, like so. Okay, so here it is in your controller, and we do want to change this real quick. We are just going to say view equals new the first project frame so that it constructs itself. I believe there's a yeah, here it is, the first project frame. So there is a constructor. Oh, gotta take it out of here. No. Oh, goes in here. Huh, that's weird. One sec. Leave it in the static part, and we're going to set this to be private static void. Forgot about that piece. Didn't seem to like that. It says a parentheses are expected. What you talk about? What you talking about? That makes no sense. Maybe not void. Not void, just private static. There we go. We did it. Okay, cool. All was well. All right, so we're going to say the view is a new version of the first project frame, and then we're also going to have to set visible true, so it actually appears. Okay, that's good. All right, so that's the first piece. The second piece is we're going to need to set up an action listener. Okay, so action listeners are kind of like the controller listening for something happening, and then in the view, it tells the controller that, hey, what you were listening for, it happened. And that's kind of what this is hopefully doing, if all goes according to plan, which we of course know it doesn't. So here's the way it works. In your controller, underneath here, you put the following. Okay, so oh, action listener needs a variable too, so that goes up here, and it's private static action listener. Action listener. Okay, so there's the name, there's the type. All right. So action listener is equal to it's a new action listener, and what goes in here is what you want your file, your controller file, to do when it hears this action. And in this case, it wants it to run a function. Well, we're actually going to delete that because that has nothing to do with ours. It can run any function in this file. So we could actually write one down here that says private static void. This could be called Let's see. We'll just write the one for set operand 1. Set operand. Let's see. Is it going to be set operand? Let's see. We need to take one of these. Yeah. So we'll just say set operand is what it is. And this needs to take an argument, and that argument has to be the text, I guess. Set operand. We'll say it's a string for now. So we'll convert in the actual method. Okay, cool. And then this is going to set operand. And the argument is going to be the view dot the name of the variable in the view, which is the label, I guess. Yeah. Let's see. The label. View dot JLabel dot, I guess it's get text. Maybe it's JLabel1. Yeah, that's what it's called. Apparently that doesn't work. Oh, it's got private access here, so we do need to make it public. So we're going to make the first project's JLabel to be public. Oh, we can't do that here. We have to do it here. Yay! This is actually a lot easier if you do it from the start. Sorry, I didn't have us doing this from the start. That's my fault. There is a privacy piece. There it is. Access public. Okay, so that's all set. Set operand with the text of the label. Okay, so what's going on now is that when you one sec, is instead of the button being pushed and oops, and the event going, where'd it go? Going here when the button's pushed instead of the event going here. Now it actually goes straight to the controller. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to take basically this code here, and we're going to want to place it into the controller's method, set operand. Okay. Now we actually can't do view.jlabel.getText anymore, so let's figure out how we're going to tell the controller, which one is which. Well, I guess we could add different action listeners to different buttons. So this could be the action listener that goes on button 1. So in this case, we'll know in set operand, this is going to be, instead of set operand, we'll change this to button 1 pressed, or I guess 1 button pressed. And this will be 1 button pressed. And now there actually is no argument. We can just get rid of that, because we know it's the first button here. All right, cool. So now we can actually just take our code and kind of cut it. And paste. Now it doesn't know what JLabel1 is. We have to do view.jlabel1 to set the text. Now we can actually store these values in our controller, or what we should do is we should put them into our model. So in our model, we want to store the operand values. So the operand values in our original file, those were variables and they were integers. So we had private static string operation equals that. Private static integer operand 1 equals 0. Nope. Private static integer operand 2. Cool. There are those. Okay. So now back to our controller, what we want to do is we want to tell our model that a button was pressed and it's button 1. Okay, so our model needs a function to handle this, and this is where we shouldn't we shouldn't reuse code here. Okay, we should have one thing that sets an operand. So we're going to make a method, well actually it should be a public method, shouldn't it? Public static void. We'll say set operand, and we'll say it's got to be an integer. There we go. Oh, it didn't like that. Oh, maybe it needs to be in here. Duh. Cool. So this is a public static void set operand, and this is where we put our logic for that we wrote before in our first frame here. Oop, that was now over here. This is where this goes. So if operand 1 is 0, we actually want these to start at 0. Operand 1, now this should not be 1 anymore, it should just be the argument that we pass. Because we're going to handle which one it is in our controller, and we'll let our model do the same thing. Alright, so set operand 1, that's equal to 0. Operand 1 equals operand. Otherwise, if operand 2 is 0, that's going to be... Now what happens, so the problem here is what happens if operand 1 is 0 already? I don't know. So, maybe we should say it's not set yet. Maybe we should say is null. I think that'll work. That might be better, marginally, anyway. Alright, so there's what's going on in our model. This actually doesn't need to tell the controller that it's done because it will be done. There's nothing to notify it about. So all we have to do in our controller is call our models set operand using the number 1 because we know that this is going to be the 1 button pressed. Alright, finally we've got one last step, and that's to set this action listener onto the 1 button. So it's going to be the view dot, is it button 1? 1 button? What is it? 1 button dot add action listener, and we're going to add action listener. And again, 1 button is private. You're going to have to probably change all these buttons to be public. Well, apparently you actually have to select it from the menu. Excuse me. There you go. Alright, cool. We also need to set up our model. Model equals new calc model. There you go. We don't want to set it visible though because there's nothing to be visible with the model. Alright, that's a demo of how to do action listeners. Let's make sure it does indeed display what we expect it to. No main classes. What is it talking about? This is definitely a feature of what we just did. Let's see. We basically have to set the main class to be our new controller. Well, it's there, but I think what's happened is that it doesn't have these command line arguments anymore. So we do need to change the main class. Maybe refactor? I don't know. Inspect. I don't know. What does this do? No patterns found. It's weird. Never seen this problem before. One sec, time to Google. Your project over here and click run, and it should give you a dialog to select the new main class. Which hopefully will open up Java on the computer. Looks like it's building. This is a good sign. Now it's running. Well, here's some stuff. eventually. There it is. So 1, oh, look at that, it works. All right. So there you go. That's a quick tutorial on how to set up event listeners. Sorry we didn't do that from the beginning. To be honest, I wasn't planning on having you guys do this right from the start, but I think you can handle it. So again, if you can't get everything working in MVC format for this first project, that is okay. We will want to do that moving forward, though. All right. That's all for now. Hope this was useful, and if you have any questions, let me know. Bye.